Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds. Sean Haney here with Real Agriculture. We're at Canola Palooza, and we're joined right now by Kelly Turkington. He's with the Lacombe Research Station. Kelly, how's it going?
Not too bad.
Yeah, great
Busy day.
Yeah, no kidding. You're getting lots of questions from a lot of different farmers. A question I have for you, I've been hearing it a lot from our audience, dry conditions across big parts of Western Canada. This is a year where do I apply a fungicide is a little bit of a tougher decision-making process with the variability that we're seeing. In terms of Fusarium head blight, how do you do that evaluation? How do I decide?
Well, there's a number of things that you need to look at. So obviously one thing is what your history of disease is like on your operation and maybe immediately adjacent fields. So that gives you a feeling for the amount of Fusarium graminearum that you might have around. So let's say for the sake of argument, you have had issues with downgrading in your harvested grain due to Fusarium damaged kernels or FDK. You've had some of the grain tested by the seed testing labs and they've picked up graminearum. So you know that it's an issue, a pathogen that you have. But if you look at disease development, you need a susceptible host. So of course we have that. But the next key component, and probably the one that trumps everything, is the weather conditions. And if you have dry conditions throughout June, you're going to have very little activity of that Fusarium fungus on the overwintering crop residue in terms of producing the windborne stage. So when the crop comes into flag leaf and transitions into head emergence, you're not going to have, with these dry conditions, a lot of spore production and spore dispersal. So your risk is going to be quite low. So in that situation, if you follow the crop for leaf disease development, you look at the risk maps that Alberta Wheat Commission and Alberta Agriculture and Forestry have online. They're excellent tools to give you an indication of whether the environment has been favorable for Fusarium and the risk. So based on that information, if it's dry, if the forecast for the next 2 weeks is for dry conditions and temperatures, daily highs in that 25 to 35 degrees C range, the risk there is very limited as far as Fusarium head blight. So spraying a fungicide would likely have limited or no effect as far as reducing disease, reducing the amount of FDK in the harvested grain, and so on, because you simply wouldn't have disease development occurring.
Get out in those fields and take a look what's going on.
Yes, and look at the risk maps. And one simple strategy that I've talked about in terms of sclerotinia is go out into that field, and if you go out at 8 or 9 in the morning and the soil surface is dry, your boots don't get muddy, the crop canopy is dry, those are conditions that are not conducive to disease development, whether it's Fusarium or leaf diseases in your wheat. Conversely, if you go out into a field at 2 or 3 in the afternoon and your boots are muddy, your pants are wet up to your crotch, you've got environmental conditions in that crop that would facilitate either leaf disease development or Fusarium.